So this week, we were asked to watch an old cop show and then compare it to how it like policing has evolved over the last few years. And the show I chose to watch an episode or two of was Chips, and that's it was aired I think in 1978. I'm pretty sure, um, but sorry, 77. So there are a few differences are pretty apparent right off the bat, like even in the introduction. One that was addressed by the film or the TV show itself was that in Chips there's always two people riding on a motorcycle around together. Normally, in any way, shape, or form, back then and now, riding in duos was never heard of. Like you did never do that. But the reason they said that in the show was that it was easier for them to cast it like that, and to have people follow two people rather than one. Another difference was that on the bikes themselves, they had a different light pattern than they do now. It's a very minuscule difference, but it still is a difference. It's something very differently seen than today. Today we have a lot of blues and reds, even on the bikes, which they had blues and reds and white lights on their cop cars in the show, except not on the motorcycles. It was just red lights, which I don't know if that's for all policing or all police motorcycles during that time, but it was a difference in the show. So another difference was that in the show itself, it's known for being very PG, not very violent. They didn't have many guns at all drawn, which I'm assuming they were just trying to keep it either TV worthy, or they were trying to be realistic with the fact that people didn't use a lot of guns. I'm not entirely certain, but that was definitely a difference here now, because no matter what cop you see around here or in any other part of the world, they're always carrying a gun, and normally they go straight to the gun or the taser when a lot of conflict comes their way. Another minuscule difference was that the car models themselves are very outdated. They don't seem very efficient. They're very boxy. I'm sure that at that time they were top of the line peak type of technology, but as per now we have all these Chargers and SUVs that can definitely get up there in speeds. So I'm sure they can probably put any of these older cars to dust. Lastly, one of the biggest things that I really did notice was that there's not a lot of safety in the way that they were operating around here, and around most police operations in a chase, like a highway pursuit. They normally just stay in like different codes. So one would take primary, and then one would take secondary. And I'm not entirely certain what the different types of terms are, but I know that one would be primary, and then the others would respect that person being primary. But instead, these guys are riding around like maniacs, essentially, because they're just weaving in and out of traffic. They're not allowing them to move over, nothing like that. It's just very different than what you would see in today. I mean, if you watch someone on a police motorcycle today, most likely they wouldn't be as reckless, because it is incredibly dangerous. Another thing was that I don't know if it was specified in this show, because I only watched a few episodes, but the biggest difference that I know of between like past television or televised policing and now was the Miranda rights case, where like before this whole conflict happened with the court cases and stuff with Miranda rights and everything like that, they really didn't show like people getting read their rights when they were arrested. Most of the time they were picked up and just thrown into the back of a car and someone says a catchy line. But after that case went through, I know that a lot of shows during that time turned and put it into their writing. Like they wrote in that these guys would have to express that they are under arrest. This is their, like, they are allowed to plead the fifth, blah 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 blah. Just all this, all of their Miranda rights read, are like now associated in the program. But that is most of the differences I could see in ships. I looked at other different like shows and stuff, and I couldn't really pick out a lot from them, other than the fact that there are some definite time period differences and technological differences. But that is pretty much all I got. Thank you.